Hey, what's up guys? Tim here. Got another tutorial for you today, and we're revisiting a previous weave we've done before. This is the Sanctified weave, so with a slight variation. So this is done with buckles. The last tutorial I did was with knot and loop, so this will show you guys how to do this with buckles. And we've just modified the center pattern. So if you remember this one, this is the first one I did. This is the knot and loop Sanctified. This is with Endless Falls red microcord stitching. This one looks really nice, but yeah, we've moved up to this one. So as you can see, this one is a bit thicker and it's a little wider because of just the way the pattern works out. So this is the chainmail Endless Falls, or Sanctified with chainmail Endless Falls. It's very similar to that previous one we did, but just a little more stitching. We added some microcord accent, and we did the chainmail Endless Falls pattern in the center. Just want to give you guys a quick close-up look before we get started. This one's a bit more trickier, definitely a lot more labor involved, a bit more time consuming, but I think the final product is worth the effort. And one thing I forgot to mention in the upcoming how-to part is that when you're determining the length, because this is so wide, it will shrink slightly, because when you put this weave in the center, it kind of pulls the core strands outwards, thereby kind of shrinking your bracelet slightly. So do take that into consideration, but I will annotate the circumference of this bracelet, and as well as how much cord I used. Okay, so that being said, let's get into the tutorial. Okay, so I've got all my paracord ready to go. I've got 7.5 feet of the navy blue, 5.5 feet each of the red, gold, and white. And this white is microcord. And for the buckle, I'm just using the 3/4 inch buckle, and that's the quick release side release buckle. Okay. Okay, so we're going to start out with our navy blue paracord and our buckle, and this is going to be probably the trickiest part of the bracelet because you're forming the core part of the bracelet. All right, so I've got my piece of paracord here. I've doubled it over. I found the middle. So we're going to start off by it doesn't really matter which side you use. I'm just going to make my loop like this. I'm going to just push it through the buckle here. Okay, like that. And we're going to do a single cow's hitch. So we're going to pull all our strands through here like this. Alright, so that's how we're going to start off with one cow's hitch. Okay, so next, now I've gone ahead and flattened the tip of my paracord. I just melted it with a lighter for a bit and then pressed it with some pliers. This will make it a lot easier. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take our flat end and we're going to push it through the front of the buckle. So if you got a curved buckle, make sure you differentiate front and back. So we're going to go through this little gap right here. Wiggle that through. So now this strand is, this strand, right? This one, these two here. So we're going to put that through, and then we're going to pull this all the way through to the end. Right? So we're like this. Okay, so this is where you should be right now. So next, we're going to pull this pretty much all the way closed. Now, depending on the size of your buckle, this might be a little tricky. For me, it'll be a little tricky because you see this little gap I'm creating up top right there? Yeah, right there. Okay, I want to take my end of my paracord and I want to feed it through the back of the buckle and up through the front. Okay, so I think I will use my hemostats here. So again, this cord is this end. I'm just going to feed it through here, okay, on the rightmost side. So if you'll just bear with me while I do this. Okay, put that through here. So I'm just grabbing the other end here. Nothing really to see, but so I grab that end here, pull it through like that. Okay. So now, when you do this, make sure you pull this cord through the loop here. Okay, see how it's going through the loop, like that? And this is going to form our second kind of cow's hitch. See? So now, essentially have a double cow's hitch, like this on one end, like that. Okay, so now you want to make sure these two strands are even. Mine are just about even, but you can, if they're really uneven, you can just feed one end of the paracord through all the way to the other end to even that out. And then we'll move on to attaching the buckles to the other side. Okay, next we're going to feed our cord through the other side of the buckle. I'm just going to take this off. As you can see, I've evened out my cords so they're nice and pretty much even. Alright, so now we're going to take our two cords and we're going to feed it through the top of the buckle, so that you can see the curved side there. We're going to go through here, top like this. We're going to feed it all the way through. So at this point you're going to determine your length, okay, and your sizing. So this is an important step because you're going to want to get your length right. If you don't get it right, you're going to have to start again. So as you can see, this is what we're doing. So two buckles on this side, and in the middle will be your woven section. Okay, so now that I have my length right, I'm just kind of estimating. I'm going to adjust it later off camera because I just want to show you guys how to get the next cords through. So let's see, now we're on let's do the right cord first. Let's separate these guys. So it's basically the same thing. We're going to do the cow's hitch. So because we're on the right side, we can come around on this end like this. So as you can see, the cord is here. And then we're going to take this end and we're going to feed it through the back or the bottom of the buckle and come forward. Okay, so we're going to go through here, that, from the back to the front, and then again we're going to pull it through. Make sure you go through this loop here. Okay, see what I'm doing there? I went through the loop and we created another cow's hitch. Okay, so see, we got one through. Now we're just going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So remember, whichever side you're on, you want the longer cord, this one here, to go out that way. Okay, so bring it out this way, bring it around. So see, I've got a loop. I'm sorry. See, I've got a loop on this side. So now this part will be a little more tricky because we're running out of space. So I'm just going to pull this all the way to one side. I'm going to use my hemostats again. So now again we're going to go through from the back, bottom of the buckle, through to the front. Okay. So this part might get a little confusing for you, but you know, it took me a little while to figure out, but give it a second try if this first viewing doesn't make sense. Okay, so I'm going to pull this through here. Hopefully it'll fit. Okay, so we got that through now. Now don't make sure you don't get confused here. Let's get this out of the way. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing here. It's the same thing on the other side. I pulled it and I'm going through this loop here. Okay, and I'm pulling that shut. Alright, so I'm going to pull this closed. So now you can see what we've done here. We've got the double cow's hitch up here. We've got these two down here. And at this point you want to make sure your strands are even. See, mine are a little uneven. I've got to shorten this one. But you can see we've got our two weaving strands up here and double cow's hitch down here. So at this point you want to make sure your bracelet is sized properly and make sure your weaving strands are even, and then we can start weaving the main part. Okay, so now that we've got our buckle core set up, we're going to incorporate our accent colors. So as you can see, I've got my gold here on a fid. You don't have to use a fid if you don't have one, but this will make things a lot easier. I'm just going to pass my gold through both cow's hitches. So if you look closely here, you can see where the cow's hitch is. point of entry is basically going to be right here. Okay, so we're just going to work our fid through both cowl hitches. You can just kind of loosen up the cowl hitches. Make sure you don't stab through your paracord. There you go. Alright, so we're going to work that through. We'll get that to about halfway. We can take this off now. Okay, so we're going to pull it just about halfway through, like this. And you're going to want to make sure both sides are even. Okay, so next we're going to do our white microcord. This microcord lacing part is entirely optional. It will make it a little more difficult because you have yet another pair of working strands, but you know, it's not a big deal. So for this one, I'm going to use my hemostats. This will be a lot easier with. Okay, so I'm going to put my hemostats through here. Pinch this end. Bring it through like that. Okay. And again, you want to even out both sides. Okay, like that. And now you want to re-tighten up your cowl hitches. Okay, so then now that we've done these two, we can add our last accent color. And now that we've got the gold and white microcord through, we're going to add the red. That's going to be the chainmail endless falls that's going down the center. And we're going to, again, put that on a fid. And then we're going to turn over our buckle like this. And you see these two strands here, where the cowl hitches are. We're just going to put our cord through here, underneath these two in the middle. I'm going to pass that right through. Okay, so again, put that right through. You can take the fid off. And then you're going to, of course, even out both sides. Okay, so this is what you should have in front of you now. Let me try to clean these up for you so you can see what we're working with. So we've got the white and the gold going through the top there. These two strands, these two navies, are the weaving strands. And again, we've got our red in the center. So at this point, you definitely want to set up on a jig if you're not already. I'd highly suggest using a jig. I'm just going to use a makeshift jig where I tether the top of my buckle to something heavy up top, and I tether the bottom to my desk. Okay, that way I can have a jig. So I'm going to set that up, and then we can get into weaving. Alright, so now after all that lengthy setup, we can get started on weaving. So I've got my accents up here. These two cords are the long working cords, and I've got my red accent cords down the middle. Okay, so first things first, we're going to take our red. Just going to put that out of the way. So if you've watched, if you're familiar with the Sanctified, or if you've seen my other tutorial, I'm going to start the same way. So we're going to start with the inner cords. We're going to take the left one under, so left under left, and then over top the right. And then we're going to take the right cord underneath, right under right, and over top the left. Okay, so now next, see see where my fingers are, these two loops? We're going to take the white microcord and the white and gold. We're going to go behind through here. So we're going to come out here and go through this loop here. So it's going to go behind through there. So I'm going to just do both at the same time because it might be a little too confusing if I separate them. So white and gold, see underneath here. And then we're going to put it through this loop up here. Oh, I lost my white. It's okay, we'll put the white through as well. So again, yeah, because we're working with so many strands, this might be a little confusing, but I'll just try to show everything as clearly as possible. Okay, so now, as you can see, my white kind of went on the bottom. I actually want to keep the white on the top. What I mean by is I want to keep it up there, like that. Okay, so you want the white on the top. Alright, now we're going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, so again, this white and gold is going to come underneath here and go through this loop here. Okay, so we're going to keep the white on the bottom. We're going to put this through here. Keep the white up top like that. Okay, so you can kind of see where I am now. I've got our cords through the loops here. And now we can incorporate our red in the center. So next we're going to incorporate our red strands. So this is very similar to the endless falls, but this is the chainmail endless fall, so it's just slightly different. So we're going to bring these down here, and we're going to loop them around on the outside first. So it's kind of same as the endless falls. So as you can see on the right strand, I'm just going to pull it through to the right side like that. Okay, same thing on the other side. I'm going to put the strand behind and through this loop here. So I'm just going to pull that out of the way and show you. So as you can see, it's very simple what I did. I just looped it around once. Okay. So the difference between endless falls and chainmail endless falls is that because we looped it in on the outside, the next time we're going to go on the inside on this part. Okay. But now that we've got everything through, we can cinch up our first knot. So this is essentially just the first pass. So when you're working with multiple strands, just kind of slowly pull everything together. Try to keep track of what's what. This can be very tricky and time consuming, but I think the end result is worth it. Okay, so again, see how that white wants to go on the wrong side? I want to keep it on the same side. This, I'm just slowly tightening everything up. Pull on the reds like that. Okay. So as you can see here, that is the beginning of our Sanctified. So next we're just going to do the same thing, but the pass in the middle will be different. Okay, now we're just going to do it again, except this time I'm just going to go a little faster. So, yep, we're going to put our red out of the way. Definitely make sure your knot and everything is cinched up nice and tight before you move on. Okay, so now, same thing. So left, left under left, right under right, like this. We do the same thing with our white and gold. So behind here, and through our loop, like that. Keep it up top. Same thing on this side. So behind and through here. And you know, if this is a little too daunting, I suggest you guys just do a basic Sanctified without the all the accents. It can really help you you know, understand this weave. Okay, so now the main difference now is because for the chainmail part, instead of going on the outside like we did again, we're going to go on the inside. So what that means is, bring our cords down here. We're going to loop this behind, and this time we're going to go through the middle, like this. Right, like that. And same thing on this side. Both cords through the middle. So they're just alternating, looping through on the inside and looping through on the outside. See? This time I went on the inside. Okay, now we're back. That's the second pass, all right? We can just tighten everything up. Make sure our strands are in the right place, like that. All right, and that's pretty much it. That's the whole weave. I already did 2 passes, and you're just going to do the same thing over and over again. Okay, looping, doing the 2 Sanctified knots on the side, and then the chainmail goes inside, outside, inside, outside. Okay, so I'm just going to continue weaving down the center here, and going to finish it up near the end. Okay, so I'm almost done weaving. As you guys notice, I'm really starting to run low on space here because you know, we're working with a fixed length on the buckles. So at this point, you definitely will have to use your tools. So use your hemostats, use your fids to get the cords through, and just try to weave as far as you can, and you know, pretty much right up to here. And then when we get there, we can show you how to finish it off. Alright, so I'm done weaving, and as you can see I've woven as close to the bracelet as I can. I used my fids and my hemostats just to get the last few weaves through. So just be patient and work all the threads through. So now to finish it off, instead of just cutting everything off where it is, we're going to flip this bracelet around and just kind of hide everything on the back. Okay, so as you can see we have the back of our bracelet here. Let's get these cords organized. Okay, so now, as you can see with my blue strands, what I'm going to do is going to take my fid, I'm going to attach it to my thread, here, my blue here. Now you see this little cow's hitch here? I'm going to go through here. So this is on the right side, like this. And pull that through like that. Remove the fid. Kind of helps if you have two fids, but I only have one, so I'm going to do this on the other side as well. So as you can see, it's the same thing on this side. I'm going to put this through here. Just going to work it through like that. Okay, so as you can see, we have two loops now. I'm going to close these loops up slightly. So now, essentially, we're going to take all of our loose threads, or ends. We're going to feed the white and the gold through that side. I'm going to feed white and gold through this side as well, like this. And then as for your center, my red, I'm going to put that through here as well. This is going to go through here as well, like that. So you see? I know it looks a little confusing, but I'll just pull these tight a bit. So we've got these ones that were coming out this side, they're going through the loop. The gold on this side going through the loop, and the center ones going down through here, right? So that's what that looks like there. So as you can see, we're just going to pull it shut, and this will effectively clean up all our loose threads. All our loose excess paracord. And this kind of really nicely hides most of the singed ends at the back. Okay, so now before you go ahead and see how clean that looks, before you snip everything off, make sure this last knot here is really tight, because this is securing all of these threads, right? So be sure that you pull this down as tight as possible before you clip everything off. And also when you do melt it, you can make sure you try to melt these ends together. That way they'll stay, okay? So I'm just going to snip and singe off all this excess, and I'm going to snip and singe off this up here as well, and then we'll be done our bracelet. Alright, and there we have it, guys. I'm done. So I snipped and singed off my excess paracord. Everything looks as clean as possible. And there's the back side, but here's the presentation side. I'll give you guys one last close-up look at this Sanctified with chainmail endless falls. A lot of effort for this one, but I think it's worth it. You know, it's really impressive when you look at something like this, just with the microcord accents and the two colors on the side and the color in the center. So I hope I've explained everything clearly and concisely. I know this one was a bit of a doozy, but you know, do hit that replay button if you're uncertain of anything. And if you do have any comments or questions, please leave them down below. Be sure to get back to you as soon as I can. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will annotate all related videos at the end and in the description if possible. And that's about it, guys. If you haven't already, please do like, share, and subscribe. That would really help me out. And I'll see you guys on the next tutorial video.